I know I'm going to move into him because I want to move to a position of control. And I know as I move into him, he's probably going to want to move away. So I need to be prepared to load up to crash into him violently. So my first move is here. Here, I'm moving to this double underhook 2-on-1. 2-on-1. Now notice how I loaded up that knee to throw that knee into his midsection. That knee might go to his groin or it might go to his solar plexus. But that's very powerful. This knee is already loaded up for bear. So as I turn in, notice I'm scooping. Now look at this leg, it's loaded. Boom! And even if I don't do damage to him, at least I'm disrupting his nervous system and giving him something to deal with. Now remember this? We showed you this earlier with our dumps. Notice this control that I have. We call this the swan position on his wrist. I'm moving in tight down to the wrist, so I'm controlling. Notice I've compromised this angle on his wrist. And I'm bringing my elbow to my body. I've got really tight control. If I get above the elbow here, he can move his arm around a lot and start to stab or move that arm up to my neck. It gets bad. So I have to make sure I'm below the elbow, and I like to be down with the wrist to control. Now notice also what I did once I stepped out. I'm in this modified T position. You can see this right here, this T position. I'm walling off his head to take all the slack out of this arm. I want that to be tight, because if there's slack in the arm, now he can start to fight me with that bent arm. I don't want that. I want to take out that slack by walling off his head. I'm also controlling his head. Where his head goes, his body follows. That's just the first 2 phases. I'm not worried about taking this knife out of his hand. I've done it a lot, and I'm here to tell you it's extremely dangerous to do, even if you have a lot of practice. Edged weapons are extremely scary. You have a knife at home that you've looked at wrong, and you feel like it's going to cut you to the bone? This is an extremely dangerous weapon. I'm not playing games with that. So there's easier, more gross motor ways that you can handle a situation like this. Integrating with your firearm or not being overly dependent on the firearm. Now I'm in the dominant position. Remember? Distance management, timing, transitions, dominant angles. We continue to use those 4 principles. Okay? I'm also concealing my weapon. He doesn't know my weapon or my intent. I'm retaining my weapon in lots of ways now. Concealment retention, posture, I'm in good fight posture, I'm working to a dominant position. I don't have a reasonable escape right now, so I'm looking to submit this person. That's what's happening. That's our IDS hierarchy. We're using principles here. We're adaptive with our principles. Phase 3, I'm throwing knees and I'm beating him with my knees. He's totally set up for this. I can also throw elbows here. Great place for elbows and knees. Now I'm probably going to start looking for dumps, trips, and sweeps. I'll be saying, drop the knife. Drop the knife. I might be able to knee him in his face, slamming his face into my knee. That's all I'm worried about. Maybe throwing a knee to his thigh. If I can't get him down with dumps, trips, and sweeps, I might be able to press him up against the wall or start to shove him away while I transition to my weapon. Now I have all my weapon and hand options that we've talked about earlier. True integration happening here. True integration happening here.